All right. 10:04, I call to order City of Tucumcari Lodgers Tax Board meeting for October 7th. Al, will you please give the roll call?
Howard's here, Larry,
Here.
Mikey, that's
Yeah.
Here. Thoughts, prayers, definitely with Mike right now. He's doing illness with his wife. So we have the agenda. One change that was made by Angelica's request. I left the intern on Mark's position. He is now city manager. So that changed. I see now I forgot to take special at her. It was not a special meeting. This is a regular meeting. I did move items from citizens to the kind of up on the agenda because at the time there were folks that were saying they wanted to be here to speak. I don't know if those people will be here, but we'll leave that where it is. I think it will still be relevant to what we're discussing today. And that is it. Does anybody else have any changes, omissions, anything?
I do have a billboard proposal. I'm hoping to see if it's a motionable
Okay, so we'll make that part of item 8.
item. I think,
We'll just, yeah, because I didn't itemize it really because we just need to kind of pick up our discussion from last 2 weeks ago. So that can be included with that.
I make a motion to approve the agenda with the changes, take special out. And whatever, interim, take that out of Mr. Martinez. And that's about it because I think the billboards would be fit right in with number 8, in my opinion.
Somebody have to make a motion?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
sir.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Everybody get, sorry, Al actually sent those to me late Sunday or Monday. I'm busy this week, I forgot. So everybody have a chance to read over the minutes for both the September 9th and September 24th meetings. Any questions, omissions, anything?
Make a motion to approve the minutes for September 9th and the 24th meeting.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving right along. So items from citizens. Please limit comments 3 minutes or less.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to give a quick update on the branding. We met yesterday. We had a really good meeting, I felt, yesterday. We've been continuing to define our brand essence statement, but the graphic designers presented us with a mood board yesterday, which if you know anything about graphic design, it's colors and textures and pictures and things that try to evoke a feeling of what we're going towards there. So we were pleased, I felt, with that initial step towards what they're working towards. The colors were good. They were kind of, what would you say, Larry, like a nostalgic blend of Southwest colors. They're not really Southwest, but they're kind of oranges and
I think it was a happy
blues and
meeting of the two, nostalgia, Southwest. I was very encouraged by what they presented.
and we've got another meeting in a couple of weeks with them. They should have a few proposed logo ideas at that time. And my understanding is they're gonna shoot for like one extreme to the other so we can meet in the middle with what we're looking at. But they'll have a few ideas, but overall yesterday I felt like it was a really good meeting. Just wanted to update you guys and let you know where we're at with that. And then also I wanted to let you guys know about the neon restoration project that the Talking Tour is working on. That neon motel sign from used to be the Travatel on 54. Through the website, we've raised just over $1,200 in, I don't know, has it been a week and a half maybe? And then we've got some outside donations that have been pledged. One of $1,000 and one of 500, and then a couple smaller ones that we haven't received yet, but we're getting really close to that purchase price and shipping cost, and then of course the restoration cost. But the Talking Tour has taken this on as an official project. It'll be the first of many that we're going to be working on, but it's exciting. I think there's going to be lots of neon stuff going on, and so I want to let you guys know that this is something Main Street is overseeing all the funding for that project and the facilitation of it at this point. Are there any questions on either one of those
Where are they
things?
gonna put the sign at the museum?
It's actually gonna be downtown.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're gonna start getting some neon out and about within the community downtown, lighted up
Nice.
downtown. So, yeah, it was presented to the Route 66 Museum, I guess, and I don't know what happened there, but I wasn't gonna let that opportunity pass us up, so.
The board hasn't been meeting this year, so it's been,
Yeah. So there's that, but I jumped on it.
No,
so.
it's good.
You know, that's a good idea, to get people downtown. It's probably
It
one of the
is,
best
and
ideas. You've had some really good ones, but I think that's one of the best ones.
It does fit in with our master plan for the Main Street District, bringing tourism downtown, uniting Route 66 and the Main Street District. So I think this is a good fit, and the motel is on 54 to begin with. So.
Good job.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Only citizen here, so I'm assuming that's. That's, go to Rochelle for the financial report for September.
Morning. You all have my handout. So for the month of September, the total amount of lodgers tax revenue that was received was $43,311.44. I did move the payment from the Gulf for that loan that they have with the lodgers tax. So the 7,000 we've moved over, and the 1,155 I moved over to the executive side. Everything on the executive side is just the regular monthly transfers and payments to debt service that we have to make. On the promotional side, that gave promotional side 21,655.72 for revenue. And again, just the standard monthly paying for the billboards and the transfer to convention center. I was thinking about the revenue percentages and where we would expect lodgers tax to be, right? So we talk about this every month. There was 43,311 brought in on an 8-year average. We would expect you to be at 49,740. But one thing to also look at is on the amount of revenue on the promotional side, your percentage is at 24.37%, which would be the first quarter would be 25%. So you're still right where you need to be as far as based on this month's or this year's budget. Does that make sense? So when we base it on an 8-year average, yes, we would expect it to be more, but we didn't have COVID in all these previous years, so we can't. It's kind of hard to compare it to that, but if we're staying right with the budget and you guys are almost at 25%, which is exactly where you should be based on the budget for this year.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you have any questions for me? There's not much to talk about on here for me.
I don't think so, anybody? Okay.
Okay,
Thanks, Rochelle.
thank you.
Move to our city manager's report.
don't have too much to say today other than, spent Friday and Saturday, Connie was alongside of me with the New Mexico Tourism Department. They were down here taking video and photos of the area of a lot of the assets and things we have to offer here in Tuncumcari. So that was exciting. I'll be looking forward to receiving those assets to see exactly what we have to work with in our future. I think it could help us moving forward with our marketing and what we plan to do moving forward. Once we get the branding done, we'll have a good idea and we'll have already some videos and photos to use if need be for advertising. Another thing I wanted to bring up is the continuation of the discussion with using funds from the executive side. I do plan on utilizing some executive funding. I'll take it before the city commission tomorrow night at the commission meeting based on the recommendation to go ahead and move forward with Bands of Enchantment as well as the filming for Fast TV. So we will be taking that before commission tomorrow at the commission meeting. I did also want to bring up something else I'd like to present to the commission in the near future is the idea, once we finish this branding, we want to continue with that and really put ourselves out there again. I imagine that'd be towards the end of the calendar year, if not the beginning of the next calendar year, and look into possibly hiring a marketing firm or somebody to continue that. We don't want to let that lapse. We want to keep our name out there. But I'll have more on that probably next meeting. And that is all.
Mark, if you care to speak to the, before we launch into this discussion again about funding for marketing efforts, just back to the convention center and renovations, where that money should come from.
So right now, we already designate $50,000 to go into renovations for the convention center. Obviously, there are more things that need to be renovated out there than the 50,000 provides. And considering our timing, since things are closed down right now, we're not open to the public for large events. I do feel that it's necessary, and it'll probably be presented next meeting, kind of that wish list that Al was asking about. We'd like to do some flooring. We've already started working on the restroom renovation. There are some updates I'd like to have in regards to Wi-Fi. Also new projectors and whatnot. Those are costly and it'll take time, but at least one good projector. For example, we had some interviews that were conducted for an RFP in the Liberty Room, and that projector was old and outdated. We had to use a projector that we have at Community Development. So there are some things that we can make better out there to make it more attractive. So when we are able to open for events, we need to be able to have new technology, fast technology. That way it's more enticing to those to come down and hold their events here in Tuncumcari and meetings and whatnot. So that'll be presented later on. I'll pass it to the Lodgers Tax Advisory Board so we could hear your thoughts on it and then ultimately take it up to the City Commission for their voting to allow more funding to be taken out of executive for that at that time. The other thing is everything else, in my opinion, is kind of at a standstill until we get this whole branding thing figured out. I don't want to jump the gun and rush into things and have one direction and one goal going now, and then a few months it doesn't fit in line with our new branding. At that point, then you have to replace new vinyls, and that could get costly. So one thing that I would encourage is just to make sure that we think this through and make sure that we have one unified goal in our marketing scheme moving forward before we just start putting things out there.
I do have a question. The street sweeper, I understand we have one, are we not running it around the streets or?
We don't run it all the time. I know there's a point where there's some things wrong with it. I think it is available. That's something we can do. Part of the issue, a lot of the complaints where I received requests for a street sweeper are up and down First and Main Street, which are NMDOT highways. We have partnered with them in the past and helped them out, whether it was our responsibility or not, just for the sake of doing it. I like to hold people accountable. If it's the state's responsibility, they should take care of it. But at the same time, if it's a big concern, we can get our guys out there to do something.
Anything else from Mark? Okay. All right. So we're gonna pick up discussion from our special meeting. There's a lot of things were clarified. I know different people talking to different people after the meeting. So I wanted to revisit, come back to it, try to get us all on the same page. So what I wanted to reiterate was what we've accomplished to this point, this calendar year. So we started in the spring, knowing that we were unhappy with 7505's services. We knew a change needed to be made. I worked with Connie, Al, some other folks' input to come up with a marketing proposal plan that we presented. We had the whole battle with our former city manager. A lot of work, effort went into getting this pushed through. We had the idea to work with New Mexico Main Street, pick up an effort that Connie had already initiated, using their services, free design services. Just a great opportunity to really take steps towards intentionally rebranding our marketing efforts. Something that really had not been done even with 7505. And so that proposal was passed. We had, I guess, a branding committee task force put together to work with New Mexico Main Street. That was delayed, of course, late March. Then we had a huge curveball thrown our way, like everyone, with a pandemic. So that was that really sidelined a lot of things temporarily, although those have now picked back up. So what we had agreed on, what we had talked about doing back in spring is now in motion. And what I want to try to keep us from doing is going off course and getting away from that goal that we had established. And what we had agreed was that marketing efforts needed, all of our efforts needed to be completely redone from Vista guys and advertising, billboards, all of that needed to be unified, a cohesive design, logo, and redone. That's where we are now. We're at that. We're getting close to that point. It's been delayed, but it's in progress. And as Connie said, the meeting yesterday was very, very encouraging. It was that they're definitely, I feel they're on the right track, and they're getting a lot of input. I think it's going to go very well. And as Robin stated 2 weeks ago, they're looking at having this finished by the end of the year. It could be sooner. Really, it's dependent on us as it is them to agree on a plan of action and a style guide and logo. So our special meeting 2 weeks ago was one thing was to choose billboards, and if we're going to choose any and lock those in. We didn't accomplish that. And I don't know if we're even ready to do that. We have to decide that today. What I'm proposing today is that we take a step back, take a breath, not feel rushed that we have to spend $40,000 immediately, that it's there, it's not going anywhere. The city is not going to steal it. It's safe. But as Mark said earlier, there's no reason to rush into anything until this process is done. We're heading into the winter months. Tourism is going to be almost non-existent, I think, for the next few months. It's hard to say. And with Um, with, there being COVID spikes again across the country and well, across our country and around the world, it's hard to know what next year's even going to bring, let alone the winter. So, what I would like to do is take the money that we have, the surplus, just set it aside with plans that once the branding process is finished, as Mark said, the hope is to have professionals brought in at that point, to help us, allocate those funds. So because we do need help. I don't know how much printing a visitor guide will cost, so we don't know until it's done. I don't know, we don't have all the answers to how much certain things will cost until we're at that point. So we can't really allocate these funds until we have that information. So I'm saying we hold off for now, set those funds aside and wait until the branding process is finished and then we see where the city goes with, hiring out, professional marketing team. Again, I think we've established that while the convention center definitely needs renovations, it's not a promotional expense. That was clarified to me after the meeting. We would have to move those funds to executive for that to happen, and we would lose marketing funds by doing that. Just to me is not a wise use of the money we have. 40,000 seems like quite a bit, but it won't really go all that far. I think it's money that we need for marketing efforts, especially going into next year. If the international tourism is down, then we need to target the American audience. Remind them about the Great American Road Trip and Route 66 and what they can do instead of traveling abroad. There's a lot more discussion to be had, I guess, is the bottom line, and make decisions now. Specific decisions is really hard without having this branding process finished. Any thoughts?
It seems like the branding committee's on target, and we're hoping to get some proofs by end of this year, which is good. So looks like we're on track. Do you want to move on to my billboard?
Sure.
So all this year I've been chasing down billboards, and I think this is the best that I can do. I'm burnt out now. The word that comes to my mind is snooze, we lose. So what I propose is this company, they have 5 billboards in sequence, 2 are lighted, they're all left-hand reads. It's a 3-year contract. The vinyl is guaranteed for 3 years. The billboard company is willing to, as soon as we give them a commitment, they're willing to run electric for the next 3 billboards. The best thing about this deal is that it's 30 miles in front of Santa Rosa. So
West.
yeah, so if you're coming from Albuquerque to Dubuque, it's 30 miles just before Santa Rosa. Yes, it's 100 miles before us, but we're getting a good deal. The deal is 5 billboards, $200 each
A month?
a month. So that's $1,000 for 5 billboards. In our last meeting, we talked about 2 billboards for $1,000. I got you guys 5. This is gravy right here. They're committed to doing electrical on the next 3 billboards. All billboards are in sequence. 3-year warranty on the vinyl. Start date is January, so that gives us a little time with the branding. Even if we're a month behind, not a big deal, because we're gonna know the artwork is gonna be good. Hoping to see a motion today.
So are there additional costs besides the 1,000
Just the production cost, it's $900 for the vinyl,
per?
per vinyl, yeah,
Was guaranteed for 3 years.
3 years, so if it tears, breaks, they'll fix it.
900 up front, or is it incorporated to the monthly?
No, it's upfront.
Okay, so 900 times 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I forgot to print multiple pages.
$400. And then the lighting is additional.
Yes, $75 each.
Okay.
And they're willing to do the next 3 also, with a commitment from us.
So that would be 75 times 5. 300, 375.
I mean,
So,
the city has, in the past, did them back to back. The ones on the east side of Santa Rosa, they're pretty much back to back. Yeah, you skip a couple. I think you really can beat that.
I do have a question for Mark. For example, if the motion goes through, how fast of a commitment could the city give to this gentleman? Because if we wait, we will lose. Even a commitment letter from him, from your office, will be satisfactory.
So I can't commit anything because it would be a contract and it's too late to get it on tomorrow's agenda. So it would not be able to be passed by commission until October 22nd, our next meeting. That'd be the soonest that we could actually act on it. The other thing to keep in mind is, and we have money there, but we need to keep in mind that there's gonna be these reoccurring costs. If we do sign up for a contract, what kind of contract are they presenting? Is it annually? Is it for 2 years, 3 years? We also have the reoccurring contract that we currently have with, on these billboards. So we need to make sure that we plan that ahead of time, because that's that much money that will not be available for future events and whatnot. So just remember to keep that in mind.
So the ball is in our court, guys. I mean, we got 5 for 1,000, and we kind of kept telling them that.
I mean, is that basically the flying C or flying J or whatever it's over there, flying C or?
All of their backsides. I mean, I convinced them, yes, I'm not gonna lie, I did get some billboards from them. That's one of the reasons why this came around.
I mean, the chairman asked for ideas, you presented an idea, having 5 billboards. I don't think you could go wrong.
The opportunity is that we're in front of Santa Rosa. And with a branding committee and the think tank, they could come up with a good 5 billboard sequence.
so things to think about is that, well, one, we had stated before, we want to try to line all these up to where they have the same begin date, so that it's gonna be easier to track and to, so they're gonna be all 3-year contracts, they all begin January 1. We want everything kind of aligned, so we're not, so it's just easier to manage.
And on the city standpoint, if I may, Larry, I'd actually prefer them to be tied in with the fiscal year, way it meets up with our annual budget. If not, then it's gonna come out of 2 different budgets. If we do a January contract, you'll have 6 months on one fiscal year and 6 months on another.
So
So
would you
I prefer to have all of our contracts on the fiscal year.
begin July 1?
That doesn't mean we can't do something temporarily to acquire these. I mean, that's fine, but moving forward, I would say, hey, let's get us a contract maybe for 6 months with the stipulation that we're gonna actually do a long-term contract come July 1. I just like them it makes more sense on a budget standpoint. The other thing, like I said, to consider is the way the budget stands now, this money that we're gonna use for this, if this were to go through, would be money that was saved from events that were canceled. So that's what I'm saying. We got to be careful on future budgets and whatnot to make sure that money is going to be a recurring cost for as long as we have that contract.
Right, you're basically taking a one-time revenue and trying to put it into a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
For us, that's heavily frowned upon from DFA. So I think it's a great idea, but that's why I kept telling you when David Raybold was here, if you're looking at these, are you gonna try to move some off of these other contracts? Because we're already in contract with them, with Lamar and Sun Vista, and it's about $45,000 a year. So if you were gonna take some off of these other contracts to put into another contract, then you could wash it out, but otherwise you're just taking a one-time revenue and trying to spend it out over 3 years.
Okay, and right now that's coming out of executive for those.
Billboards?
Promotional.
Oh,
It's
promotion.
promotional, so why is it
Mhm.
on this sheet?
Well,
It's
it's,
confusing.
it's on Lamar and it's on, Sun Vista's on promotional.
Oh,
The
oh,
thing-
sorry, I got pages mixed up.
The thing about,
Executive was on top. Okay.
the thing about if we do move forward and if we're $12,000 short for our events and our budget's, like this year was 60,000, if it's 48,000, the commission has said we can always ask, go to them and ask them for extra money. $12,000 is nothing compared to 603,000. That's my opinion. And I don't know the numbers like Rochelle and Mark, because they do contracts all the time or whatnot, but I mean, we can always ask. I mean, as far as, I guess what we would do is vote on the idea and let Mark or Mr. Martinez and the commission work on the contracts.
What do you think, Todd?
I say it from both sides, as a business owner and then as a commissioner, I think it's a great idea, but, when it comes down to contracts, we also gotta consider the amount of contracts. We gotta see how we can marry it up together before we go any farther than that, It will be an added extra cost coming out of promotion side. When we're already spending, I didn't know it was 45,000, but, you know how I feel about the billboard, I told you from day one. If y'all want, it really doesn't matter how I feel right here, because I represent y'all in front of the commission. If the commission, and they're gonna ask, what do y'all think about it? If y'all are for it, I will be your voice and let them know that. That's what I'm here for. As a citizen, I would love as many billboards as we can get at the best price. But we also gotta understand, we gotta be fiscally responsible for what we have. I'd rather us have a way, what Rochelle was saying, kind of make it a wash with, if we got some that we don't feel are doing well for us with either Sun Vista or,
Lamar.
Lamar, I don't know who owns these other billboards, but see if we can find a way to make it a wash, I think that would be the best way. That way, we're not really affecting the budget near as bad as we would bringing in another 12 grand a year. Not to mention, we have to come up with about 5 grand to start it in a short time.
I mean, the ball is in our court. I'm burnt out. I've chased this down all year. This is the best that I can do.
No, this is a good deal.
Yes, it is, I mean, they're willing to put lights here soon as we sign. We've got a 3-month wait time for the artwork. This is the best opportunity to take down Santa Rosa. 5 billboards in sequence. Yes, I did pick up some boards for my desert end.
And we all, if it helps to make things a little easier on the city, I don't have no problem with that. My advice as liaison is the next commission meeting, if it was to be put on the agenda, that you come and present it. And that way, it's easier having the person that put together do the presenting. That's the best, without doing an outward commitment, which I shouldn't do in the position I'm in. That's what I would suggest.
And don't get me wrong, it's a great opportunity. It's a great price. We just got to look at the long-term picture. I don't want to get tunnel vision and say, yeah, this is great. We got to capitalize on it. Just realize the effects that has in the future. The other thing to consider, I was worried in the beginning because you said they weren't lit up. To me, you're not getting that much bang for your buck.
Yeah.
You only get it during certain hours. But if they're willing to do that, that helps as well. You said all of these though are left.
Yeah,
And such.
that's your, right there. They're all left-handed. They're all in sequence.
How close are they together?
Oh, relatively.
Like a mile, 2 miles?
They're spaced out. No, they're mile
Right.
marker.
Boom, boom,
234.5 and 0.5. So it's between 2 miles in between.
I personally rather have the 5 right before Santa Rosa, because we compete with Santa Rosa more than any other town in this area, than having the 2 right after Santa Rosa.
And I wanted to agree with Mark. That's what I was coming up here to say was I think it's a great idea. So, and I also agree with Matt. Yes, you guys could always go back and ask the commission for money from the executive side. And I love the idea that they're back to back because you think Buffalo Thunder has theirs.
Yeah.
It's constant.
Clients,
Moriarty
clients,
has
clients,
theirs. I do agree. I think it's a wonderful idea. So I'm just giving my financial standpoint, but
I mean, $12,000 and some lighting fees and tax. That's more than, I mean, we're paying more for Lamar and some of the.
But with the lighting though, we're talking about, if I did my math right, 16,500 a year, including the lighting, $75 a month for each. Okay. So that makes, 16,500 a year we're committing to, if we do that. So we gotta think about it,
And-
we gotta think, I mean, we still have a year left on Sun Vista, I guess, and Lamar. So they were, like, Sun Vista had offered to, in that contract, begin a new one if we renewed the existing billboards. And they're also going to create the artwork if we go that route. So that's another consideration is how enthusiastic are they gonna be about creating artwork if we're taking it somewhere else. And we're gonna take their billboards away, or we going to, how do we work this in to what we already have existing? And,
Because, some
We gotta think about that.
boards are after Santa Rosa.
yeah, but I think he had some before, I don't remember.
I'm not sure what we have coming in from the east side from Amarillo, but I know there's one at around the 203. There's a couple right there around Klein's Corners and by Flying Sea. And then we also have those right there by Quinville. We have the two left-handed that are back to back.
the ones in Amarillo are from like Vega.
How many do we have that way?
I
Two
believe
or
there's
three?
3,
Yeah.
and that's with Lamar.
Try to catch those coming back from Amarillo the other day, but you just don't see them except during the night, the rest of this. You don't see them. So even if I'm trying to find them, I don't see them.
So the other thing is that if there's only a year left on Sun Vista, and I have no idea what the years are on the contract, but if Lamar is 21,807 a year, and this is gonna be 16,000, but that's Lamar, and again, those are the 3 by Vega, I believe, El Dorado, something like that. Then maybe those are things to think about too. You pay for 1 year, and then when the contracts come up, decide what you're gonna do with the other 2 companies. I don't.
Sounds like a savings just from one company.
Exactly.
And we get, how many billboards do we have? I'm just using Lamar. How many billboards do we have with Lamar?
I think it's either 3 or 4.
Yeah,
And Sun Vista is the one that is here in New Mexico, so. I mean, like I said, we're competing with Santa Rosa. I'd rather have it before Santa Rosa personally instead of the 2. My opinion, I didn't take a marketing class in college or anything, but
So quickly to highlight this, 30 miles before Santa Rosa, the company's willing to do trench and do light work for us. They're willing to give us 3 months start fee. I mean, they're giving us $200 a board and $75 for lighting. I mean, they're throwing us plenty of boards, I think you can't go wrong. I did work hard with these guys because I wanted boards. It is a Flying Sea branch and they have the backside empty. They gave me a whole bunch of boards and I said, hey, can you do something for the city? They're like, yes. So,
The only thing I caution is, I know this is an advisory board and ultimately it's gonna go to the city commission, but just separating the personal business and the city business, we just gotta,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they finally came around because for years, it was just wasted advertisement opportunities.
these have been sitting empty for a while, my understanding. Yeah.
For years.
Okay.
So,
Can I see?
yeah.
are they the same, about the same dimensions as our typical other billboards?
I should see them. Well, another thing to consider is that we do get quite a bit of traffic, coming eastbound. We have to make sure that we're that we're equally focusing both east and westbound, so we definitely want to not lose anything. Or at least maintain a presence, east of Tucumcari for westbound traffic. So, from Lamar, we need to be careful about losing any presence.
Which company do we have that's in Texas?
That's Lamar.
Is that Lamar?
So
Yeah,
they're here in New Mexico.
I would agree in the sense that having billboards on Route 66 is very important to Tucumcari. I'm not even concerned as much about 287 as much as Route 66.
Yeah, I've heard different opinions on 287 since the last meeting too. A lot of, like I said, there's been a lot of discussion amongst a lot of people here in the room. So I know that, 287, my understanding, we do get a lot of traffic from it, but I guess a lot also just go straight through Amarillo and north and bypass us completely. So, that would take some kind of a study that I've done. I'm sure there's something out there, but I don't have his statistics on that. I just know I get a lot of traffic from Dallas Fort Worth. That's kind of all I have to gauge on. I guess it depends on where their destination is. Like we're getting the ones that go to Pagosa, Durango, Silverton. But maybe if they're going somewhere else in Colorado, they're just heading straight north. That's more in the Denver, Colorado Springs area. Okay. Well, other considerations that yes, the rest of this fiscal year could be lean. It could be going in next fiscal year. We just don't know what 2021 is going to bring. As crappy as 2020 has been, there's no guarantees it's going to get better anytime soon. So we could have more events canceled. I hope not, because I really want the events back. But we got to make sure that we're able to finance to help fund them as we've always have. So we have to be careful here. And then, another thought is that if we have so once the branding process is finished and we have a marketing firm or people in place that are doing a strategic implementation of a marketing plan, we jump the gun and do something ahead of them that may not make sense in the bigger picture. I'm just thinking of different scenarios here. We're taking this, we're committing to 3 years here. So we're willing to do that and say we're going to spend $16,500 a year on these 5 billboards. We just have to understand that that's going to come with possible repercussions down the road. So
I make a motion to go forward with the idea. Of course, the city manager and the city commission will work out the contract. And we'll revisit Sun Vistas, at least the 2 Sun Vistas will be there between here and Santa Rosa at the end of their contract. I hope that makes sense.
Motion?
Yeah, motion.
I'll second it. All right.
So in my motion, I said that we're gonna use the idea of those 5 billboards. And we're gonna consider for the year and consider possibly removing the 2 on the east side of Santa Rosa. You agree with that since you seconded it?
Yes.
Okay. Because my motion is second.
okay. Again, I stress that if we do that, we're going to possibly lose the free design service from Sun Vista. So is this company willing to do free design service?
But we have the branding.
Yeah, we have the branding, we have professionals doing the branding, Main Street. New Mexico Main Street, not just Connie, she's doing a good job, but she's reaching out statewide. Yep, that's my motion.
And you second. You'll be mad at me, but I'm voting no, because I feel like we should be strategic and careful
I mean, the thing
about
about
what
it,
we're doing here.
we've had work sessions for the last 4 or 5 months. We haven't made a decision on anything.
Again, we feel we're constantly making ourselves rush to do things that don't necessarily need to be rushed. I think it's a great plan, like everyone said, there's no questioning, it's a great deal. I just think
And if we're 16,000 short next year on, the event, the convention center is paid off, we can ask for 16,000 from the executive. So I guess we need to vote on this.
I'm voting no. Lila?
How long has these people been in business?
Oh, for years.
Who is the company?
It's, there's something right there. They have the Flying Sea Ranch, words on them. I mean, if we miss this opportunity, Santa Rosa is gonna sell it to them.
They just dropped a lot of their billboards though. I think a lot of places aren't looking to do this right now. We're in a unique position. I mean, Santa Rosa just let a lot of theirs go. And so, which makes me question how effective were they really? They had a ton, just last 2 years ago.
Last meeting, we, made a motion to do convention center. We made a motion to do the idea of billboards. Since then, the convention center, we have money in the executive side to do the convention center. So we agreed on this before to do billboards on this meeting. We just agreed on the idea in the last meeting to move forward on this.
Yes, move forward, but, not necessarily immediately, just to put that money aside and have it when we're ready, when the branding process is complete. So,
My only concern is we can't bring it up before the commission until the 22nd.
We won't meet
And
until after the 22nd
to be
anyway.
honest with you, right now, my gut feeling is telling me I need to go no with this too. Because we gotta make sure we got enough on both sides and the money too, but we also gotta make sure we got money for all of the events. I know we can borrow the money, but right now, I just don't agree with it.
Mike's not here. I don't want to call him. He's at the hospital with his wife.
He did say in his email he wanted to use the money for billboards, convention
He
center.
I mean, I want to use money for billboards, but just feel like every month it seems like we come in, there's a new shiny object that's getting our attention, and we're just so eager to spend, and there's no rush. This is a great deal, but I think we're gonna be sorry if we don't do a more strategic look across the different companies, different billboards available. I just don't think this is the only thing out there. And it's like, no denying it's a great deal. That's not the argument. It's just whether it's financially responsible to get into a 3-year commitment right now.
So are we gonna sit here and wait for things to happen, or are we gonna sit here and try to make things happen?
We are making things happen, but there's a process. If we rush, then we're wasting money, which is not, I mean, believe me, I'm a lodger. The money that we're talking about is coming out of, I'm helping generate it. Lila, Al, Mike, we all help generate this money. We sacrifice for it because we have to look at how we raise our rates. We have to look at different factors. So it's very important to me how it's spent, and I want to be responsible about it. I don't want to just,
So if we made a
Just dive
motion
in.
and a second, that's going to the commission, I think we'll let the commission decide.
Yeah, basically, because it didn't pass, let the commission decide.
I think that'd be the choice of the
it's
board.
happening anyway.
All right, so if
For us,
we
it's just a recommendation.
move on to the next topic. Can we move on to the next topic?
Dan?
Yes.
But just, I just want make sure we're understanding this. There's a plan in place. It's a plan we've worked through all year to get to this point, and we're almost there with the branding. We're so close. And once that's there, and we can bring in professional assistants to help us really strategize, navigate the possibilities. There's a lot to do. I just don't know if, I just think
Can't be jumping the gun for 4 months. We've been having work sessions. We hadn't voted on anything. We should have all this money into place to bring tourism into Tuncary. Yes. I mean,
but it's October, there's no tourism. We're in no rush because it won't pick back up until March. So at this point, this year.
all right, let's move on.
Yes.
Yes, please, thank you.
Okay.
So, all right, so, what we do need to take action on is that we're putting the 40,000 aside, removing, convention center, from that for the time being, at least. But we're putting the 40,000 aside until the branding process is finished and we get,
No, we're not.
well, then it's gonna stay where it was, but that money, we've already determined promotional funding cannot be used for the convention center unless we vote to move it to executive. So basically what we did 2 weeks ago stands, with the removal of the convention center. We would have to vote that specifically.
Okay,
Okay,
moving on.
moving on. Items from the city of Tuncary. Todd,
Oh, we're gonna talk about
you said moving on.
we gotta talk about the visitor guides.
There's nothing to discuss right now because we're waiting on the branding process to finish. I don't know any other way to explain how this works, but the branding process has to finish before we can do anything else. We can't design a visitor guide without the branding process completed. So we're holding.
But we can put exact funds to the process. We can, we give 23,000 to Rockabilly, or Rockin' on the Roof. We don't know exactly how that's gonna be spent. We know it's, but
That's the amount you asked for.
I'm just giving you an example. I'm just saying, so we need to like $3,500 to support visitor guides. We need to allocate this money.
We don't know the format, we don't know the number of pages, we don't have enough information to set aside.
Okay, Vistaprint, you can get 2,000 copies, 8 pages for $1,458.
So we don't know that's what we need. We don't know what we need yet. We're not there. Guys, it's a process. It takes patience. I don't know how else to explain it, but the process that we agreed on back in the spring, it's in play. It was delayed through no one's fault.
And we agreed that we would come back in September to allocate this funds.
We tried to 2 weeks ago, but it got derailed. So we're here now, just trying to move forward. The 40,000 sitting, it's there. It'll be there when we need it. But we can't, there's no way to budget right now. We just know it's there. It'll cover the cost of the essential marketing needs. But the branding process has to be completed. There's just, otherwise we're throwing this is guesswork.
Next year.
So the social media and website, there is a person that is interested in doing that job. And I'm looking to at least talk to the city manager, see what his vision is. I need to know from the board, what's the vision of this job title? I think back in January, you had come up with a job description. if we're still in agreement with that same job description, I would like to see the city manager's input on that. Or,
So again, there's a fine line. There's a difference between if we make it a city employee, which I wanted to do because it makes sense to be able to attend these meetings, to be able to set things up because I don't have the time to do these all the time. Same thing for commission meetings. We'd expect them to be at certain local events when that kicks off again. To do that, if they are a city employee, we have to go out through a fair process. We cannot discriminate and just appoint someone to that position. It had to be a fair process, advertised, interview, and the best candidate would be selected for the position. There's a potential to follow that. But the other thing also is having, whether it's a formal RFP process, which we've been discussing through the branding process, or we go out and find an established marketing firm. I definitely want somebody with experience and knows what they're doing and provides great quality work. And by doing so, I think I'm not against the idea of hiring a marketing firm if everyone's fine with that. The thing is, I think there were some concerns with the previous marketing firm. I'm not discrediting that they're not a great marketing firm. I feel where things lacked were the management side of things. We spell out a contract with no matter who we're working with as a firm. And when we do that, we ultimately control it. And I say we, the city manager typically oversees the contracts. So that'd be my responsibility now. If there were some concerns from the lodgers tax and say, hey, look, this isn't the direction we wanted to go, as an advisory board, you can advise me, advise the commission, say, hey, look, this isn't exactly what we want to spend the money on. And I think things could be a little bit different based on the management of the marketing firm. Whereas last time, like I said, the marketing firm that were one of the top in the state, I don't think that they're horrible. I think they were just guided a certain way through some tourism funds that they had to meet certain requirements. And I also think that some of the comments that were made here in lodgers tax, the city manager never relayed those to the marketing firm. They were able to kind of freelance and do as they chose, whereas if it's managed appropriately, I think they do great work. They're top-notch firm. And I'm not saying we have to go back with them. It's just we do so much. We all have full-time jobs ourselves. We have things we have to do. So we don't have all the time or the exact expertise to do the marketing side and push it out. We don't have the relationships that they may have with some of these billboard companies, printing companies and whatnot. They have access to different things, and sometimes they also get discounts for the volume of work that they do with these companies. With that being said, like I said, I'm open to suggestions. The way I based my decisions as a manager is what's best for the city, what works financially, what makes sense, who's going to work for us, who's going to provide great quality. That's what we want moving forward as a city.
okay, would you be, as we came up with a job description, would you be able to come up with a list of expectations that you have for this person that I could relay back to them?
Most definitely. The first thing before I start talking specifically or you talking to one specific individual, I'd like to see that job description. And then I would ask that the lodgers tax advisory board makes a decision. Would you like to possibly look at moving forward with a marketing firm or company or one individual? Will this individual be an employee of the city of Tucumcari? If that's the case, there's only so much salary we could offer. With that usually comes benefits because I'd expect them to be full-time. There's a lot of logistics that goes into it. Where are we going to house them? Where's their office going to be? So if we want to, let's start with the basics, push that job description before me. I'll look at it and then we could fine tune it. And then we ultimately need to make a recommendation on how we want to move forward.
Okay, anything else before I throw to 5? Okay. Thank you. Items from the citizen or from the city of Tucumcari.
I had some ideas I was gonna bring up, but instead, a little bit of advice. When we come into these meetings, if we're gonna discuss the visitors guides, we need to have an idea of where we're gonna be going from with this, because we're spending a lot of time, I have to admit, we're spending a lot of time talking about things that if we're not gonna do nothing, we shouldn't be talking about.
Agree.
You know, everybody's time is valuable, all the way down the board, but I'm listening to conversations, and if we're not gonna, if we shouldn't be talking about the visitors guides if we don't know how many we're gonna need to get. You know, we can hold on to the 40,000, but we can also allocate, make sure, okay, well, when this is ready to go, we need this X amount. Same thing if it was chosen to go with billboards or with another event or with anything. You know, I'm just here as an advisor and a liaison for y'all, but, you know, so my view on which direction y'all should go with anything is, it's completely up to y'all. I'll just carry whatever tone y'all want to bring to there. If you want to present the billboards and the city manager puts it on the agenda, the only thing I'm gonna let the commission know, because it will be asked, is it was a split between the lodger's tax. But I won't present this for y'all. This is something that y'all need to present. But that's just my advice. And we're getting into, and if we're gonna wait till July 1st, fine on billboards. If we're gonna wait till branding is done, that's fine. With the branding, you know, I can give my view on the sense that, you know, we can get an idea on how much money we need to allocate over to the side, make sure we don't touch it. I'm all for having the visitors guides, but that's just my, you know, I'm not gonna stay here talking about this long, but if we're gonna put something out there to discuss, you know, there's nothing new to discuss. We can all agree on that. So if we're gonna, let's get some numbers, you know, the next meeting, if we're gonna do something with the visitors guys, let's get you know, an estimate's an estimate. You know, let's get an idea. We've now got an estimate on some new billboards if the commission chooses to go with it, things of that nature, but we need to, let's get some, you know, move forward. Doesn't have to be today though, because I've got a carnitas cooking right now. I've got 45 minutes. That's all I've got to say about that.
Well, at the next meeting, Connie and I can get with New Mexico Main Street, because that's one of the three free, mediums that they were going to provide to us as part of this process. So we can come up with the best estimate of what we think we'll need, how many pages it will be, the size. We're just going to distract from the branding process when we do this, but so it may slow it down. But we can do that if that's what that will help everyone. See, we're getting out of order, but we can do that.
At this meeting, I really encourage that you do think about sponsorship that could offset some of these costs. For example, if a sponsored page is $350, I have two businesses.
For the visitor guide.
Yes, for
Yes.
the visitor guide.
Yeah, I agree.
So it can offset a lot of these costs, and every business and teaching free gets a chance to be on.
That's part of the plan. I think it will help. It will definitely help.
So this way keeps our costs here down.
It's just like the mural map, the back,
Yeah.
well, the back and the center, the fold out, all have that advertising. We would do something, the plan, I think, would be to do something similar with the visitor guide, but there's just factors that go into it. Like I said, the size, we want magazine size, we want book size, and we want 16 pages, do we want 32 pages? Do we want a heavier stock on the cover and pull that map? You know, there's factors that it's not just the visitor guide costs this much money. It does, you know, it varies. But we'll try to get, if we can get some kind of an idea what the New Mexico Main Street group recommends based on what they've done for other cities. We'll try to have some kind of an idea by the next meeting. Okay, anything else, Don? No, thank you. Thank you. Items from the board. Lila, start with you. Okay. Matt.
I think, you know, Larry and, well, Tony, they have good intentions. They're doing a wonderful job. I want to thank them for that. I'm just because I disagree with Larry. I think he's doing a wonderful job. I really do. I don't want people to think I'm just arguing with him just to argue. But we're on here to make recommendations to the city commission. We hadn't made any recommendations in a while. And I'm on the board, so I take equal fault in this too. We need to start moving forward, make recommendations, see where we go from here. Another thing, is I've been looking online, and I think I presented this just as a conversation to Larry about a year ago. Other, larger stacks like Clovis, I have Clovis is right here. They don't vote for all of their events in one time. They do it every quarter. Grants does the same thing. And it might not be, well, maybe we have the best idea, but I think it needs to be discussed, like, why are we putting it all in one meeting? And when we could possibly do it in 4 meetings. And it, like I said, this idea might not be wrong, not be the best way to do it, but I think at least needs to be a discussion in future meetings. That's mine still.
I would agree with this current fiscal year. It could be, I mean, well, counted as that way anyway at this point, because we don't know what the spring's gonna bring. We don't know if Rawhide Days or Mexico Music Showcase or, you know, any of these events that still fall within the current fiscal year, if those are going to happen or not. So, but we've already have committed to those, but they would be reviewed, but maybe moving into.
I was
That's
talking
fiscal
about
year.
next,
Yeah.
kind of redo the whole application process, do it once a quarter instead of doing it once a year. Like I said, it might not be the best idea, but, and our idea might be the best by doing it all in one meeting, but we have other ways to look at it as well.
Something we can
We don't,
add to the next month's agenda and discuss. Or we're closer to, well, we would need to decide that fairly soon though, I think, the head of the next fiscal year. Do you want to have that as an agenda item for next month?
depends on how much is on depends how, if we move forward on this other stuff, we could wait another month or 2. I mean,
Yeah, it might be something maybe January. I don't know, but I think it's worth talking about. I actually like the idea. It wouldn't, it's just very overwhelming all at once. Yeah, even though this year went much better than previous years, it's a lot to take in and think about at once. Okay. Thank you, Matt.
Oh, yeah, real quick. Snooze, we lose. That's it.
Okay. All right. I can't, all I would be doing is drinking one. I've already feel like I've said 20 times, but if anyone wants to discuss, I'm free to discuss. I just don't know. I understand the impatience, I do. I would love to see all this done, but it's just where we are right now, time of year. We have such great opportunity this year. I mean, that's one, you know, as bad as COVID has been, we're such a unique position to do something very, very right. And I hate to pass that up and torpedo it by just hitting everything that looks attractive. So, you know, we're talking about Christmas lights one month, billboards and acts and different things, but we're so close to being ready to implement this plan. And just ask for just a little more patience, because I think the dividends are going to pay off, depending on how next year goes with everything that's out of our control. But I think the job that the New Mexico Main Street is doing is going to be incredible, and we're going to have a cohesive marketing push that we've never had before, and it's going to bring a lot of benefits to all of our businesses and to the city. So I just ask for patience. We're almost there. Our next meeting is scheduled for November 4th. That is the day after Election Day. COVID will be over. It will be over. So, does that work for everyone?
Yes.
Okay, November 4th. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.